Hey, small group leaders. A couple of quick things before we get to our small group launch this Wednesday, September 4th. Couple of quick things. Night one, small groups always look a little bit different because nobody knows where new small group space is and things like that. You have new kids there, et cetera, et cetera. Always, it's a little bit different than the average night. And so, a couple of things. I'll walk you through the entire night. Kids are going to be here starting around 6. We just need you guys here around 6:20 if you can, at least. That way you're here before small groups kick off. You're coming in late from work, that's okay. I get it. Just let me know. We're going to have hamburgers this Wednesday, so that'll be nice, a little change of pace from our pizza. We'll have hamburgers. Kids are taking those hamburgers to their small group spaces, okay? I will have it listed where each small group space is. I'll be texting you guys where your spot is as well, but kids are going to need help getting there. So they grab their hamburgers, you get your kids all together, you go to your small group space together, and I'll help the stragglers get there as well. Once you get there, you're eating and you're talking about what happened this summer, starting getting to know new kids' names. And here's the thing, on this particular night, that time is going to be longer than usual. On average night, you're only sitting and chatting and eating for about 10 or 15 minutes. It's probably going to be longer this time because you have more to catch up on. You're probably going to have more new kids, and that's okay. So if you find yourself doing a whole lot of talking and catching up and learning people's names this Wednesday and a little bit less time in the Bible, that's okay for the first Wednesday because it's about building relationships that build disciples. In order to build relationships, you have to know their names. You have to get to know them. It has to become a group, not just a class, And so don't feel bad about that night one, spending a little more time getting to know them. That's okay. Because the small group stuff is really short. It's a little passage out of Hebrews 10, 24 through 25. Real quick questions, basically just getting them thinking of what should this small group be? What is a small group? Helping them see this not just a class, it's community coming together to help one another grow as disciples. And so that's really what you're doing night one, trying to help them see what's the purpose and the why behind small groups. It may also be a good thing to do, especially in the younger groups, to establish what are kind of the rules and the norms. So what are the things that they're going to need to do to make this small group work? Be respectful. Don't cut in on each other. What is said in small groups stays there. It's a safe place. Things like that. And you'll be surprised. This is a teacher trick, but if you actually have them come up with the rules, they come up with really good rules. You don't need to do this necessarily in older groups, but in the younger junior high groups, it's really a great tool. Have them come up with their own rules of small group. You'll be shocked at how good those rules actually are. But that's what a small group looks like. A lot of get to know them time, a lot of that, and a little bit of what should this small group be, and you kind of guide them to the grand vision of building relationships that build disciples. Also during small group time, every student, and I can't emphasize this enough, every single student, even if they were in the nursery of Parkway at 3 days old, which I'm pretty sure none of them were, but even if that is the case, they're filling out a new student form because kids' emails and phone numbers and addresses change so often that at least once a year you need to have everybody fill out a new one, okay? So all of them do that, and that's going to take a little bit of time. That's okay. If you're looking for that small group guide, it is in the Parkway app right now, and it is also in an email that was sent out yesterday, so you can go look at that. Once small group gets done at 7:15, so 6:30, 7:15, they're in small group. 7:15, let them on out of there, especially if they're junior high, because they're about to be in large groups, so they really do need to get out at 7:15. Junior high heads upstairs. We're going to have worship set, 3-song worship set, and a quick message where I will talk a little bit about small groups, but also intro the idea of the series, come and see. Basically, the idea is rather than having all these assumptions and opinions on God, what would it look like to actually go to God and ask Him what He is like? And we see that in the life and ministry of Jesus as it's recorded in Scripture. And so this entire series is the Gospel of John, looking at what's the nature, characteristic of not just Jesus, but God Himself. Because it's not like Jesus is the nice son and then God is fire and brimstone judgment. The nature of Jesus is the nature of God. So when we see Jesus, especially in the Gospel of John, because He really focuses on the nature of Jesus, we see God. And so that's where we're going with in this series. It's very evangelistic, but it's also very practical for kids that have already believed. and we'll be walking through the gospel. Okay, a couple of tips that we talked about in our leader huddle. If you couldn't make it there, here's a quick little overview of the things that we discussed and came up with. This isn't the info part. This is the discussion part. I was getting y'all's ideas, and I love the ideas. Two things. We're starting on the Gospel of John, and our second series is also very Bible-based. Passages are often misquoted. If that's where we're going this semester, and really every semester, if we're trying to build disciples every semester, part of being a disciple is reading the Bible on your own, okay? So here's how this comes into small group. It's easier to just open up your own Bible and read to them like you're teaching it. But I'm not sure that's best for them being disciples. Now, does it take forever to pass out Bibles and them all find the book of Hebrews or the Gospel of John or Genesis, even? Does it take a long time for them to do that? Sure, it might take a while, especially if they're a new believer, they don't know the Bible very much. But here's the thing, it's time well spent. Take the time, have them open up the Bible and find it on their own, and we all read together. I personally wouldn't recommend having this kid read it, then this kid read it, then this kid read it, because some of them aren't very good reading out loud. I would actually prefer either you read it and they read along with you, or you're quiet for 5 minutes while they read it. I actually prefer those two models, but take the time, open up the Bibles, even on night one. Go to Hebrews chapter 10. Everybody goes there. Everybody reads along, because you're making disciples when you do that. It's a simple step, but it matters. Also, one thing I highly recommend, since we're going through the Gospel of John, I'll be sending this out later on, probably Wednesday or Thursday. I recommend you guys as a group, you get on the Life Church Bible app. So what's that? The Bible app everybody uses. It has a little brown Bible, says Holy Bible on there. There's some amazing resources on there, some series-based devotionals, like 21 Days in the Gospel of John. There's multiple ones on there. I highly recommend you pulling up the YouVersion Bible app with your group, because here's the thing. If you all get in the same group, your small group can actually track when they're all reading the Bible. It's kind of like Snapchat. You have a snap streak that kids love and are slightly addicted to. Well, this is a healthy snap streak. This is a way to track kids reading the Bible, and really not to guilt each other, but to encourage one another. Cool? So anyway, that's an idea we came up in our leader huddle that I love those ideas. More on how to implement that second one as time goes on. But anyway, looking forward to seeing you guys. Sorry the video is a little long, but there's a lot to talk about week one. They'll be shorter in the future. We'll see you guys on Wednesday.